Hello and welcome to the second tournament game. In this game I will be playing with Anansi Pearl against Superhero Astroknights, seed 16 against seed 17. So we will start with the highest seed. They have a pretty strong starting hand. They can play Space Knight on Converted Cave. And then Space Knight can reveal the top 3 cards of our deck. And let's see if we get an action. We don't get an action. So we will just return the minions. And then we won't be playing an action, but just draw 2 cards. And then it's Pearl Anansi. Anansi Pearl has quite a bad starting hand. They don't really want to play Ruby right now, so they are playing Trading Stories to give 2 cards to their opponent. And then they can draw 2 cards and hopefully get a better minion to play now. So unfortunately they draw another Ruby, and they don't want to play Ruby now, they want to play Ruby to score a base, so they just draw 2 and end their turn. Then we go back to Astroknight Superheroes. Space Knight can use its talent again. And once again we get 3 minions, so no action, unfortunately. With our action play we will be playing Sidekick to play a mild-mannered citizen at Converted Cave. We don't want to score Converted Cave, we want to build a bit of an engine there with our Titan and Space Knight. So we play Mind Lady on Worm's Desolation. We are trying to score that base instead. So Anansi Pearl still didn't get a better minion, so they will have to play Ruby here. Otherwise Anansi Astroknight might score the base and they will get nothing, so... Then we go back to Superhero Astroknights, so mild-mannered citizen destroys himself. And we play the burst. And after we play the burst, we can play our Titan. So we now have 2 cards that can draw for us. So we will be using Everything Glove first to draw a card. And then Space Knight. And obviously we played the burst, so we can move the burst off that base to Worm's Desolation. So we can keep our engine at Converted Cave. So with our minion play, we'll play a mild-mannered citizen. Then we can move the burst over. And all minions gain -1 power from the base. And then we can play Pot of Beans for some more power. Actually, let's place both counters on the burst. Because you want your mobile minions high-powered. So Anansi Pearl can play Burrow Hornet as a reaction to Astroknight Superheroes playing Pot of Beans. And then they will score Converted Cave by playing Ruby first, placing temporary power counter on all minions. And then also she's got the power triggers for 3 more power. And they are just trying to score this base to stop Astroknight superheroes from drawing cards. Then the last 3 power we can provide with All's Right with the World, placing a +1 or at least a temporary power counter on all minions. So yeah, the base scores. We do have to take a look if their opponent wants to play a special, but they don't have any. And then everything gets discarded. And Astroknight superheroes will have to build a new engine. The thing is though that they will have easy access to their Titan by just destroying a mild-mannered citizen. And with Golden Age they can put Space Knight at the bottom of their deck again. So they start with destroying their mild-mannered citizen, searching for Awesome Guy. Awesome Guy will just provide 5 power. And then we can also play our Titan again. With our Titan we draw a card. Scrundles, very nice minion. And then we will play Mild-Mannered Citizen at Storyteller's Hut and move the burst over. We can easily score Worm's Desolation, but then our opponent will get 3 VP for just adding 1 power, which is not good for us. So we will use the same strategy and try to turn Worm's Desolation into an engine and score Storyteller's Hut instead later. So we will use the Storyteller's Hut ability to play an extra action. This action doesn't really matter in this game, but at least is 1 less card in our hand for more room for Anansi cards. Then we draw 2 end our turn. So Anansi Pearl is also going to play there. They don't have the power to score a base, so they just want to spread out. We use Perfect Gift to search for Let It Be Full and Eat, because we really want to draw a lot of cards at this point. Anansi Pearl has a lot of minions they don't want to play in phase 2, so they need cards very badly to gain those minions they want to play in phase 2. So we're back at superhero Astroknights. They're going to destroy Mild-Mannered Citizen and search for Captain Amazing. They are trying to score Storyteller's Hut this turn. And then they still keep their engine on Worm's Desolation. Also keeping Mind Lady in play is also good. So we'll use our Titan to draw a card. Then we'll just play a small minion, Poopox, just for the power. And we will then use Captain Amazing's ability to place conditional power counter on all minions. So that's just 1 power until the end of the turn. So right now Topaz could trigger, but Anansi Pearl doesn't want to help Astroknight superhero scoring the base. So we will be playing Not Really Dead to get back to mild-mannered citizens. And then we'll just use the base ability again from Storyteller's Hut to reduce the breakpoint by 2. And then we play Laser Sword for the last power to score the base. That now provides 2 power instead of 1 with the former version, and that's enough to score the base. And now superhero Astroknights are in the lead. And the new base is Transformation Spring. They draw 2 cards. They discard both actions from their opponent, so there might be a reaction. And they also discard Annoying Alien. So Pro Anansi has one Umbaro Hornet they could play, and they will play it on Transformation Spring. So they cannot score Worm's Desolation, even though they want to destroy their engine. So they play Kai the Turtle on Transformation Spring instead, placing a card in their opponent's hand to draw 2. Then they can use Transformation Spring's ability to place Kai the Turtle on the bottom of the deck, play a minion off the top of their deck, which is Anansi the Spider, a very strong minion. So this could give them an extra action on each of their turns. But of course, Mind Lady is in play. They can use it this turn. So they will use Anansi to search their deck and play another card that draws. With a Dressing Room, they can draw 2 cards. Their opponent will not draw a card, because this would make Anansi Pearl draw another card, and that's just what they really want. So as their regular action play, they will play Pot of Beans for 2 power counters on Umbaro Hornet. I accidentally placed Dressing Room here in my discard pile instead of my opponent's hand, but they would have discarded it at the end of their turn anyways. We play Manor Pot with Everything Glove. Looking at the top card, it's not an action, so we return it. If this were a good action that provides power, we might have scored Transformation Spring this turn with Scramble, but now we just play Ghost Knight to at least get 2 VP if Anansi Pearl is going to score it. And then we will play Golden Age to get our 5 powered minions back in our deck. Actually, let's place Space Knight at the top. And then we, of course, cancel Anansi the Spider's ability with Mind Lady. We discard 1 and return. And now Anansi Pearl will be scoring Worm's Desolation to get rid of Mind Lady and Everything Glove again. Anansi the Spider is just a 5 powered minion, because as long as Mind Lady is in play, she will cancel him. So we will use Crystal to place a power counter on one of their 4 powered minions. Our 3 or less minions are protected by their Titan. But there are also higher powered minions, so that means we can score the base. Still no specials here. And then Anansi Pearl is in the lead again. They also still have a very good hand at this point, because they drew a lot of cards. Oh, Unicrave comes into play. So we draw 2, end our turn. Go back to Superhero Astroknights. So Astroknight Superheroes play Mild-Mannered Citizen again, and Pot of Beans to place 2 power counters. There might be a reaction, we'll see. No reaction. So they just draw 2 cards. They need to discard. They can discard Anansi actions because they know there won't be a reaction. So Anansi Pearl plays Topaz on Unigrave. So, and then Truly Outstanding to play some power counters. The power counter on Mild-Mannered Citizen doesn't really matter. The power counter will be out of play when Mild-Mannered Citizen destroys himself. And then Topaz also gets a power counter from her own ability. We'll end our turn by discarding 1 card. We go back to Astroknight Superheroes. They will destroy their mild-mannered citizen, play the burst, and then of course their Titan. So with their Titan they play another mild-mannered citizen. And then they will score Transformation Spring by playing Walking Carpet. He gets +2 power from Ghost Knight. The birds can move, also gains +2 power. And then we can finish it with Block the Probe for the last power. And this brings Astroknight Superheroes in a very good spot. Anansi Pearl heavily relies on giving power to their opponent's minions, and Mild-Mannered Citizen is protected by Everything Love. So Anansi Pearl will probably have a hard time scoring Unigrave. So USS Banner comes into play. We end our turn, go back to Anansi Pearl. Topaz could still get a counter from Ghost Knight giving power to other minions. Anansi Pearl could try to play Gem All Night Long on Tropical Paradise, try to score that base, but then it will be a tie, and Superhero Astronauts will probably score and win Unigrave later. So they are trying now to score Unigrave themselves by using Akai the Turtle, placing Pearl into their opponent's hand and then playing Collecting Stories. Take a look at their opponent's hand and play Pearl. They also know what cards are in their opponent's hand now. Just to clarify, Anansi Pearl could use USS Banner to play Topaz as an extra minion. And then, of course, the idea will be using Pearl to give +1 power to Mild-Mannered Citizen and then move Topaz and score the base. But Mild-Mannered Citizen is actually protected by Everything Love, so this is not possible. We cannot score the base and we can only hope to keep the most minions there so we can use our special. So then we get back to Superheroes Astronauts. They will first destroy their Mild-Mannered Citizen and play Captain Amazing. The only thing that could prevent them from winning the base is the Pearl special, so they just need to make sure they have the most minions there, and they can do this by using USS Banner and Everything Love to play a 2-power minion, and then play Scoundrel on USS Banner to move both minions to Unigrave. And then they have 4 minions, which means they have the most minions, and then Pearl cannot use their special. We will use Captain Amazing for extra power. Then we could also place a power gun on Topaz for their opponents, but it doesn't really matter. Playing an action is also not necessary. we can just score the base and we will probably win. There's a very small chance that we get winter squashed, but any other base will be fine, and then superhero Astroknights would win the game. So let's see what base we get. It's the deep, so that means Pearl and Anansi cannot play their special because they don't have the most minions there. And then superheroes Astroknights gain 3 victory points. Anansi Pearl gets only 2. And superheroes Astroknights win the game. So this brings superheroes Astroknights to round 2, and they will have to face the seed number 1 Ghost Killer Plants the next round. Thanks for watching. Next game will be Vigilantes Teens against Teddy Bear's Cree. So yeah, I hope to see you there.